Okay, welcome. Here's Harry Kroner. It's my first live through this streaming program called Restream. So if it doesn't work or anything like that, please put it in the chat and I can get and understand what's happening. So, and forgive me if I cannot see you or hear you. So I'll try this. We'll see how it goes. Um, all right. My name is Harry Kroner, and I've been doing obviously this channel guide to your spiritual awakening journey. But who am I really? What's my background? It's important to know, especially relevant for this past life regression. I first encountered past life regression almost 30 years ago when I first read the book, Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss. I also read some books from Bruce Goldberg, Past Life, Future Lives. And I also read fascinating books by Michael Newton, The Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls, which I highly recommend you guys read that. Those are really good books and give you a really good background about the whole soul themes, soul groups, and especially the Journey of Souls by Michael Newton, which explores the life between lives of our pure soul as it plans and strategizes towards the next lifetime and what it wants to experience in that lifetime. So it's really beautiful. It's really exciting. I would really recommend doing that, starting with that. And there's obviously by today, this is 30 years ago. There's a lot more books, a lot more information. You can do it on YouTube. There's a lot of information. People share their stories. Other practitioners share their client stories. You can see some recordings. Alba Weinman, she's a colleague, and she has done that. She started with that, doing recording of her sessions, and that was beautiful. So it was really good. So I would really recommend you doing that. So where did I start with it? I started by reading about it, and immediately, again, but that was back 30 years ago, I said, I need to learn how to do this. This is beyond important and fascinating for me. So I took my first hypnotherapy course 30 years back. And first I did it for more recreational, with learning about myself, with friends and family. And I've been doing it professionally for 20 years now. So I've regressed hundreds of people by now. Well, I think 1,000 people. So it's been a lot of experience that I have in this area. And now in the past 4 years, I've been also teaching it under my online academy, Quantum Healing Methods. So I do have a lot of experience. I know how to teach how to do this so other people can do and facilitate past life regressions for other people. Again, it's not really regression, it's just experiencing other lives. So let's go into that. It's not necessarily only in the past. It could be a future life, it could be a parallel life. Parallel meaning like to what we are now, or somewhat contemporary life in the 20 years ago when you already have been alive, but that life has started or ended at that time. So the whole concept of past lives is very passé. And it's really not relevant because it's just other lives. It could be in other dimensions, other timelines, again, other periods of time. It's not a linear experience. Our soul does not look at all what is in the past lifetimes as a linear experience of like you progressively going through history. It doesn't work that way. You go and experience life in the period and time that your soul chooses to have that experience in whatever lessons, themes, and exploration that your soul chooses to have. Really just an experience. So let me dig a little deeper into that. And I know there's a few questions coming up, but I want to just dig a little bit into that because I think it's important to cover this thing. Why do we even come here? Why does our soul choose to come into this lifetime? This one, other lifetimes, what was the purpose of it? So when you do between lifetime experience, you can learn more about that, or life reviews and stuff like that, which is part of facilitating a past life regression. But mainly, my spirit guides have showed me to give this example because it's important to have this kind of example of why and how and what's the purpose of it to really experience the lessons of being a human. Our soul is really connected to what is, to source, to God, whatever you want to call it, to the universe. And it does not know how it is to experience or what it is to experience, like what is it, abandonment, to feel alone, to feel the challenges of being physically alive and disconnected from, somewhat disconnected from source, and going through the experience of sharing life with other people, the dynamics with other people. Sometimes you're the father, sometimes you're the son, sometimes you're the mother, sometimes you're the daughter, the aunt, the grandmother. We take different roles with our soul group, we do different roles with different people around, and we come and do different things. And it's not about the accomplishment. It rarely is about the accomplishment of lifetimes. What we see here is accomplishment, how much you achieved, how much careers, how much, that's nothing, how much money you made, that's not important. The lessons are soul lessons, and those lessons are about learning about whatever is. I'll give an example. The most common example is love, and all the different facets of love. So one lifetime you experience love, loss of love, abandonment, which is again another form of loss of love, not receiving enough love, or the different challenges of being in relationships. As you all know, it can have its challenges and its beauty and different types of love. It's fascinating. So, but that's the lessons. So stuff like that, understanding what it is to be, to experience joy and have a life. Could be a very simple life as a farmer or a fisherman, but at that lifetime you experienced a beautiful life of joy and love, and that was what you were there to learn. That's it. The actual technicalities of what you learn, who was what, is not that important. What period of time, it's not that crucial. So that curiosity from the conscious mind of like, I want to learn what period of time, what was this person speaking, what was the exact name, that's just really, that's nice to know if you're curious, but it's not essential because that's not what the soul is here to experience. And another important part is that, I have a question here. The question is, how can you remembering other lives without hypnosis? So it goes back to your childhood. Start with that, your birth childhood. So when you are in your early life, anywhere till age 5 or 6, kids remember. It compartmentalize it sometimes. But if you have a young child, 3, 4, 5 years old, ask them, do you remember life? Remember a time before you were whatever your name was? And you will find out. I remember when I was 4 years old, I had a dream, and that's another way it comes to you. I had a dream while taking an awesome nap, and I had. Now I understand as an adult, it was about another lifetime because I still remember it. No, dreams you remember are more than just dreams. As something important. So it was just that I was a sailor, and someone fell in the water and they drowned. We tried to save him and they're drowned. And we just like, he was left behind. And that was very traumatic for me. I feel like, wow, this was terrible. So I remember that experience. And when I was doing this or doing the work, I just decided to ask my son, for example, that was almost 20 years ago. Do you remember it? He was 5 years old at the time. Do you remember a time before you were yourself? And it's like, yes. He looked a little surprised, yes, and described the whole lifetime as some being in an ocean, not on Earth, a different being, and just experiencing being in the ocean. And I think it was kind of a dolphin or some kind of a other being of experience, but not on this Earth, and not as a human. So the whole concept of, are we just human, and how many human lives have I had? How many lives have I had? And the number is not important because it's the experience that counts. You could have had 30 lives, 150 lives. It doesn't mean that one that has 150 lives is better or has more, just more experience. But it doesn't mean the lessons have been learned. You can have lessons or themes, as we talked about love, for example, that have been learned in 10 lifetimes, and some other person can achieve it in 3 lifetimes. It's just a simplification. So it's not that important how many lifetimes. It doesn't give you, again, this is our here conscious mind that's trying to categorize and label and to put everything in a linear way of when, how much, where, what was the accomplishment. It's not the important part. It's not the purpose of it. So what was the purpose of experiencing lifetimes? The important part of it is as we are now, is to enrich us as we are in this lifetime. First of all, by healing a lot of stuff, either healing even some traumas from the past. But a lot of big one is empowerment that comes more and more in the past few years, in the past decade. More and more about empowerment, empowering those people who are just about to go on a new challenge, new career, new path, and they're a little, feeling fear, trepidation. Give an example of light workers that want to jump and do this work of service to other, and they have like really bad fear about it. Like, where is this fear coming from? So you check childhood and that kind of stuff, and then you go back to other lifetimes, and you see that they had most light workers had a lifetime that were either killed, burned to the stake, hung, or anything else like that for their belief or for their being medicine people throughout history, lifetimes. And so it's letting go of that, of like, yes, you can actually um, do your work now, do the light work that you want to do, whether it is energy healing, whatever you want to do as a healer, or supporting people, coaching people, being a therapist, whatever it is. That's just an example. But yeah, there's some fears that need to be cleared out. But it's also an empowerment, and like also seeing other lifetimes in which you did some work like that. You did it very well and did it very successfully. So you can bring up, it's not only about healing and terrible traumas and experiences. It's not only about that. It's a lot more than that, because you can learn more about what is your potential, what you can be, what you can become. And in that you are experiencing a lot of deeper aspects of yourself, and sometimes broader aspects beyond, again, life on earth, and experiencing things like, wow, I already had this highly developed, evolved technological lifetime, like whether it's an engineer or architect, and seeing like, I can do this now too, because I've done it before, and I want to expand on it and do more. So it's inspiring, expanding, empowering, and healing. So healing is not the only thing. It's not only about traumas and traumas from the past. So don't worry about it so much. It's not the only thing that we do here, although it's very important. It is important for you here now to be free of triggers, and also do the healing not only for this life, but for your entire soul experience. And as now we are more conscious as humanity, we're more conscious and aware of these things of past lives. Again, it was very, very few, select few who experienced and delved into it in the past of history. So now it is becoming a more and more common thing, and more souls can do this work and actually heal, progress, and really clear any karma. I did a little section about karma the other day, very short, but the idea is that you can do a lot, and the point is to empower yourself as you are now, to be emboldened and have the courage to jump into new adventures and your full potential, what you came here to do, and heal those triggers and things that hold you back. So it's a beautiful experience to just know that you can do this. Now a lot of times, what I see people do is fixate on specific um, time periods or experience, like, oh, I'm very drawn to Egyptian lifetime. So I'll give you that example. I had a client who came to me, and she was like obsessed with Egyptian lifetime. And she's like, I like this Egyptian, I like this, and I had visions, I had this. Fantastic. Okay, she talked about the entire pre-talks like that we did, and I explained to her what to experience and all that kind of stuff. And then we went to the experience, and she had 3 lifetimes, which were, none of them were about Egypt. It was more relevant to her relationships, to her how she needs to grow as a person, and those kind of things. So even if that's what you are feeling, that this is overly focused on one lifetime, let go of that and allow yourself to experience what is relevant for you right now and what is really important, and not just bits of knowledge and curiosity, which is also something that is fun to do. Just be curious of what is and what I could be. Another thing that people are afraid of experiencing is being a bad person. And yeah, you are most likely have been a bad person in a past lifetime, done some horrible things. Yeah, but there's no judgment. It's not you right now. It's a different lifetime, different experience, different set of experiences, different set of moral compasses or values. So don't judge your other lifetimes. Okay, it's not what you're here for. It's not about judgment. It's like, oh, I was a terrible person. Oh, now I need to. And now I feel horrible. No, it's not about that. It's about learning what other lessons there. So I'll give you another important and a little deeper example of growth. Which, for example, I had a client who she was in this lifetime have actually rescued her own son from sexual abuse that he was receiving. She caught it, she saw it, and she rescued him from that. Um, she was observant and did that. And we explored that a little further. Why did that experience come to her in this lifetime? And we explored, and she saw like, oh wow, ugh. And she realized that she decided to explore the whole idea of sexual abuse and overall and see it again. We explore things as a soul from all aspects, all prisms, all points of view. So this lifetime she was the rescuer. One time she was the the perpetrator, the violator, and she didn't like that part. And one time she was the victim. So exploring. So again, it's not about karma, about you get punished. It's not about punishment. It's about really learning all that there is to know about a certain theme that the soul have chosen to experience. And again, with this example, very deep and painful part of sexual abuse, and seeing all aspects of it and different roles in that experience. So it doesn't have to be all bad. It's really just about and just again let go of judgment, because it's you've played different roles for different people throughout the lifetimes. It's not about judging them for where you are right now as a person, from the values that we have now in our society. Um, it is what it is. And also, of course, again, another thing that I like to have people experience is the fact that you are experiencing life as male, female, all races. You have experienced all over the world, the globe, in different environments. People experience an African savannah, and then a Polynesian lifetime, and then an Asian lifetime, and then a European lifetime, and then an American lifetime. So it's all, we've been all, and we are all. So just because you are from somewhere right now doesn't mean it's where you are from. And I'll give you an example. A lot of people from the U.S. Have a lot of experience as Native Americans, because it's kind of part of the land, and it is closer, and that's part of the experience. And so a lot of people have experienced, like a lot of modern Americans have experienced as Native Americans. So in a way, they continue just on a soul level, not in the physical level as much, unfortunately. So that's part of what happens. Oh yeah, Tuan, I have a question. Good to see you. So can we get past lives without hypnosis? Thank you for raising the question again. So yes, you can. I just talked a little bit before about children remembering, especially before age 5 or 6, remembering spontaneously. So you can ask them, "Do you remember this?" And they can. And again, that veil of ignorance is still not fully closed, and they have access to previous lifetimes. And another ways you can do it is, again, it's more random in that way. So either through visions, through meditations, if you are a skilled meditator. Also through dreams, as I mentioned before, when I remember myself as a young child, remember through dreams. Some dreams, again, you'll remember that very vividly. And I remember, again, dream from age 4 till now, age 52. So you can do that in different ways. There's also other forms. For example, I know that people who experience like energy healing, so in points in which your consciousness and vibration is higher and open, you can experience some lifetimes or visions or glimpses of lifetime. But that's a little less structured and more random. You can experience, but not necessarily will do it. And people who are going through their spiritual awakening will do that, and will go through that process of suddenly having visions or glimpses, or just doing that. Another way is, again, through either energy healing or some kind of a session that you are relaxed and open, and also through plant medicine. If you're doing any kind of work like that, and doing. But again, it's not as specific and organized and targeted as it is to have doing it through hypnosis. It's just the way I know is the most effective to do it. Everything else is more open to the right environment, the right moment. But things do come up, and the more you open yourself up, the more it'll become more available to you. So even when I do speaking to my spirit guides, and they're like, okay, show me a little more about this and this through a meditation, or when I do a little channeling, and they'll show me different things. So that's exciting in that way to do it and get more in that way. I want to see else other questions. Okay, so let's see. If you have any other questions, put them in the chat. Would love to hear that and see that, and see what else you have questions about. I can talk about this topic for hours, and I realized I did a past life regression live thing, and like I can talk about it for hours. I don't have hours, so we're probably going to do more than one of these. And tackle different aspects of it, and I'll do a separate ones about what is it to experience one in preparation for doing one. Again, I do it for a living, so I've done a lot, and we're going to cover that more. But I want to also cover just the idea and the possibility and potential of different lifetimes and different things. So it's even if your soul, you can say, is fairly new to Earth, or the Earth experience, it still has lifetimes in other places, or other again, or even if it's a fairly new soul, you still have some imprints of understanding what it is to be human, because you do need to have some experience. So it's not necessarily, you're not always tapping into just your lifetimes, your specific lifetime you experience, but sometimes you just tap into things that are most relevant for you to understand right now about yourself, that you can progress and grow. So you can tap into pretty much any other lifetime, but you're finding what's relevant and what's most important and relevant for you. It could be archetypal. For example, many people experience life as Isis or Cleopatra. And a lot of people have that past life, especially women. Why? Because it's a very empowering figure in showing how to be an empowered woman in a fairly patriarchal world. And to be successful in that. So it is an archetype of a powerful woman who learned how to be successful and do well. So that's an archetype that shows up. People are like, wow, I was Cleopatra. Like you and many others, or specifically Isis or different things like that. And it's tapping into a specific energy that's important for you. You can bring that empowerment and awakening your divine feminine. So that's something that comes up a lot, and it's important to acknowledge that. So it's not necessarily only your specific time, lifetimes, but you can tap into everything else. Especially if you go like the way I usually like to do it in the past few years is through the Hall of Records, and that I feel is the most successful way of doing it, and most highest level of success. And you tap into so much more than just what you have experiences in lifetimes. Now it goes into different aspects and what a different experience. So people again focus on the big things: life in Rome, Greece, Egypt, Mayan lifetimes, or anything like the big ancient civilizations. But it's not only about that. Those are exciting, and you want to learn more, and you're curious. But it's not necessarily the most important part. Again, there's life themes, there's lessons, and sometimes even seemingly boring life of an not exciting person have a specific lesson that you are there to learn. So shift your focus of attention of, well, I want to learn, I'm just curious, I want to see like movies. It's not about seeing movies. It's really about learning the deeper lessons in life and pulling yourself in this lifetime higher into the manifesting all that you can be. All right. Let's see if there's any other questions popping up. And as you do so, and I want to just share that because again, I've been doing passive regression for 30 years, and for the longest times, it was only about soul level experiences or human level experiences, either past or future, or parallel. But in the past 15 years or so, I've been encountering more and more about lives in other planets, other civilizations across the universe. And that's fascinating by itself. Um, Hold on, I have a question here. Can we go to enlightenment Buddha world by past life regression? Again, that's very specific, and it's not, you can probably, but what's the goal? I mean, I would ask you, what is the purpose of experiencing that? If you want to experience enlightenment, you can go and experience enlightenment. It doesn't have to be an enlightened Buddha world. It doesn't have to be that kind of a specific thing. Just allow yourself to, what does enlightenment feel like, or being experiencing oneness, or being one with everything. That's a beautiful experience, and I think everybody should experience it at least once, because it's really fascinating. So again, I think it's important to open up and really allow yourself to experience the actual emotion, feeling, level of consciousness. That's the most important part, not the specific directive. And if you want to experience as a life of a Buddhist, you can try and see if you had experienced that. Or again, you can go to the Hollow Record and experience what it was to be an enlightened Buddhist experience, or Buddha itself. But again, what is the point? What is the lesson? What is the here? What you are here to learn from it? And that's what you should focus on. The exact lifetime is not what's important. What's important is the experience itself. Okay, I want to go back to other worlds. So when I first encountered it for the first time, that was really fascinating. I was actually doing a positive regression on someone, and they were doing somewhere in South America. And my client, she was, I was asking, so what are you doing here? Like, oh, we're preparing to connect with our star brothers. And I was like, again, I not encountered that before. So that was fascinating to hear that. And okay, what is it? Oh, they're coming from the stars and they're coming to meet us, but we have to be in this meditative state. I was like, okay. And then intuition, can I speak to one of them? And then it took another moment, she needed to adjust, and I need to help her raise her vibration higher to hold that level of consciousness. And to speak again for the first time, that was really thrilling, to speak directly, channeled through my client, to a being from another world, and saying a beautiful message of peace and love, and we're here to help you grow and expand and ascend. So that was really fascinating, and I really enjoyed that experience. And from that point on, I was more open to it, and I started having more and more of my clients. Again, some of them were shocked by it, because they're like, oh, whoa, a different life, a different place, a purple planet, so those kind of things were just fascinating. So, and when you start doing that and start experiencing life in different levels of consciousness, different advanced civilizations, it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. It's really beautiful. And you can see and feel those other levels of existence, of levels of consciousness, of people who are truly evolved beings. And you can experience that from within yourself. And that's beautiful. And you can experience like the comment that was placed before here, some of an enlightened being, a Buddha, or other, you can say, greater kind of cosmic beings of that level that are here to help humanity ascend. And you can tap and connect with them, either for guidance, or you can really experience life how it is to be part of you, that is experiencing life on those levels and those aspects and levels of consciousness and densities of experience. So it's really beautiful to do that and experience that. I am video recording this, yes, so you can see that again. And it should show up live on Facebook and should be live on YouTube as well. So you'll be able to tap into that later and listen to it later if you'd like. So there's so much more to explore and know, and just don't limit yourself to any specific culture or things. Just allow things to come to you. And when you do this, when you decide to explore and really tap into more of who you are as a soul, as a being, And at some point, you will be able to tap into that oversoul that is experiencing all lifetimes at the same time, and really get to that level of consciousness and understanding of everything that is. So there's so much more than just other lives, but also different levels of existence that are overseeing your soul experience and learning more from that level. So enjoy that and learn more. And we'll do more of these to explore different aspects. But especially when you talk about people who come here and now you could say more star seeds or light workers that have that, you could say, soul background in other civilizations across the universe, and can tap into different worlds and different skills and gifts and talents and levels of being. Now, another fascinating thing is I know that people, and again, I encountered that first time, and it was a bit of a shock because, for example, Lifetime Atlantis. Um, and at first I was like a little skeptic because I'm naturally skeptic, and I think it's a good thing because not to believe everything. But the experience that my client was having as we explored the life of Atlantis was um, quite traumatizing, as she was describing the part, and we were going into the part of which they completely the devastation already began, and they were like going and trying to find boats and places and how to leave, because it didn't happen all at once, but recognizing, realizing that no, there's different factions within the society of Atlantis. Some people who did not care, were not spiritual, and were just doing things that were ethically wrong, and that brought the end of the civilization on many different levels. Again, I don't want to go into it because it's I'm not 100% on that, but the anguish, the devastation of being in those survivors, that wow, that was impressive to feel, and that's why I know it was real, because she was literally sobbing and really going into that feeling of it, and knowing that they don't want to repeat it again. This is why they're coming now. A lot of people who have experienced lifetimes in Atlantis are coming back now, to make sure that we don't do the same mistakes again. And there are many of them. I've had many clients who had lifetimes in Atlantis, different aspects. Some of them were, again, this is highly advanced technologically, and it was hard to understand. Like, they were working with crystals as computers and things like, which we are now slowly going into, and understanding that again with how to operate within crystals and stuff like that. So they were already doing that, no, thousands of years ago, and had that knowledge. And it was hard to translate because we don't have the technology to understand it fully, how it was operating, how they do that, and how they used different aspects to enhance their mental capacity, or the other way around, developing their psychic abilities to that level, which they can enhance, and they can connect with other people in other places just with their minds. Beautiful things, fascinating things. And also technologically advanced and fascinating things. Again, even if described, which we don't understand how their technology works, and a lot of people do dedicate themselves to learning more about those things and how it is to try and understand the technology behind it. But again, it's very difficult to ascertain specifics, and it's again, and a lot of times, from what I see from the experience of Atlantis, it's not about the technology itself. It's not what we're supposed to bring here. It's the lessons of not repeating those mistakes, of not being of doing things without care, or starting to really feel like godlike, and believing you can do whatever you want, and devastating your environment, right? So we're at that stage now, and it's kind of sad to see how we're handling the world as a society overall. So it's interesting to do that. And another aspect, again, that came out through my sessions first. Again, luckily I'm open and intuitively open to see and understand that. And for example, Lemuria or Mu, which a lot of people talk about, but suddenly experiencing for the first time again, I first experienced as past life for clients, and only then I went to research because I didn't know about it um, before. So that just shows it's not like inclination, and the client was like, "What the hell was that?" And they did not expect it. They did not know anything about it. So a lot of times you think, "Oh, the people expect and they just imagine it." No, a lot of times it's unexpected, without any previous knowledge or awareness of that thing, or speaking in a language that is not your native language or you have no exposure to. For example, I had this guy, one of my first clients that I did more professionally, and he was this no American, and did not know any Chinese, and he just started talking full poetry in Chinese, and more like 400 years ago. But it was kind of interesting and cool to see that, and see how he does that. He was a little more talented and gifted, and he was able to channel more fully. Um, but that was just interesting to see that, and they can speak in completely different languages. And most of the time, it's we don't need that because we really speak in our minds with the level of thought. So language itself is not important. Or if you hear someone like I hear them talking, I don't understand what they're saying, and it's like just let it. You understand what they're saying. You don't have to understand the language. You understand what they're saying because it translates within the mind to thought, and then they, oh yeah, okay, I know what this. I understand what they're meaning. So it's fascinating things like that. That again, you don't have to understand it and the actual knowledge, but the experience and the lessons are the crucial part. All right. So this was a beginner. I hope you enjoy this. If you have any more questions of what it is, or you want me to address different aspects of what I already talked about, again briefly here. Again, I can talk about for hours about give different examples and things, but I don't want to bore you and make it just too long. And I want to give a chance for more people to put some requests and knowledge about what it is and what to do. And so I'll give one last thing. No, some people are have a lifetime that is one of the first lifetimes, and they come here to explore this. But usually they have other lifetimes in other places or other dimensions prior to this. So there's always an original point, a point of like the first experience. But don't also hang up to that. Be hung up on that. It's not important. Oh, that's my first. That's the important one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your first life experience was on Earth, somewhere else, or in what continent or what experience. And that's not important. The important is the whole picture, the whole tapestry, the puzzle that makes all of us together. Not only one piece. Doesn't matter which piece you put first. What's important is what is the tapestry. What is that puzzle that's showing up for you? What is it you are experiencing? And most importantly, focus on this life now, what you are experiencing now, what you're bringing forth, and what you can be. Okay? So focus on that. And this is what you hear. And this is why we have that veil, so we can really focus on this lifetime and learning the lessons here and now. Okay? But it is important to know that you have the capacity to open and understand yourself from a greater capacity, greater level of experience, of level of consciousness. And we do this, and the work of hypnosis by itself is really crucial for that. And it's been the main key for me to opening those experiences and levels of understanding. And this is really the evocation of consciousness through the power of word, and that's what it is. And don't think that you get lost in somewhere, or you can't get lost in it. The worst thing you can do is fall asleep or just bring yourself back up, because it's not that hard. And then you naturally, it's like you go to sleep, you're afraid you're never going to wake up. You're going to wake up. So your default is to be here and now. So don't worry about that. And hypnosis, you don't get taken over. You are fully more and more fully conscious of what's happening. In the past, I believe, I want to say that, yeah, again, 30 years ago, you really had to take people really, really, really deep and very long process in order to get them to experience a lifetime. But these days, our level of consciousness overall as people are so much higher that it's really right there. Right? You don't have to be completely detached consciously to understand things and see things. So you can be more part of you involved in this. You don't have to be completely detached, and that's important because so it becomes easier and easier, and it's way easier, way faster to experience past lives these days than it was even 15 years ago. So enjoy that and explore that yourself. And if you have any other questions, please put them on the comments on this video, or send me a message, and I would love to answer them. All right. Okay, so have fun and talk more, and hopefully you enjoy this. All right. Very good.